All right, so let me start today's session with a statement. The core desire of every person is not the word success. The core desire of every person, whether they are aware of it, is one simple word, and that word is fulfillment. In today's session of More Powerful Me Motivation Monday, I am going to share with you 5 keys to discovering more purpose in your life. And part of that purpose is to understand that the core desire of every person is the word fulfillment. We have an earthly journey and a kingdom calling, and they both matter. Before I dive into the topic, I want to invite you to, and I'll put a link in the description, go to www.morepowerfulme.com and get the free guide to discovering your core strengths. Core is the central and most important part of something. And when I talk about the 8 key areas we all must master, number 1 is about mastering self. That's what this podcast is all about. Discovering your God-given talents. People who understand and implement, discover, understand, and implement their God-given talents are happier, more resilient. They enjoy passionate, purposeful relationships. They're better. They're healthier and more fit. They make more money, and as it relates to today's session, they discover more purpose in their life. So go to www.morepowerfulme.com and get the free guide to discovering your core strengths. We'll also get you signed up for the More Powerful Me weekly newsletter that we send out. Always got some really cool things going on with that. So back to the topic. 5 keys to discovering more purpose in your life. Again, you have a earthly journey and a kingdom calling. Your earthly journey surrounds what you do personally and professionally. But somewhere down in your heart of hearts, you have a desire to discover a purpose for your life. We're not put here as a random act. We have a higher power, and that higher power put us here to serve a higher purpose. And our goal in life is to have our purpose align with God's purpose. And that's one of the 5 keys, is to put God at the center of it and ask Him to help you discover your purpose, right? So let me roll through the 5 things here pretty quick. Again, the core desire of every person is the word fulfillment, and fulfillment means that you fulfill, spiritual fulfillment means you have fulfilled your higher purpose. Again, your higher power has given you a purpose. And spiritually, that purpose comes down to 2 things. Number 1 is about living a life that honors God. And number 2, it's always about service to others. So let's talk about the 5 things. Number 1, your purpose is constantly evolving. It will never be a static purpose, and it will never be stuck in time. It will never be one thing. The definition of the word prosper means to live in a thriving environment. We want to prosper in every area of our lives, and we want to live in a thriving environment, and your purpose has a desire to thrive as well. I know for me, one of my purposes in life is to help men understand if they can get to the other side of a drug or an alcohol addiction, they're willing to change their body, their mind, and their spirit to beat addiction. They truly can accomplish anything. And that purpose for me has evolved over the years. It's a lot different today, 25 years later than when I understood that God had me become the hero in my own story so I could help others become the hero in their own story. So understand, number 1 is that your purpose, your spiritual fulfillment is constantly evolving. And number two, I just touched on them. There are two main purposes for your life. Number one, to live a life that honors God. And number two, to be of service to somebody else. Whether you do that for free, there's two types of service. There's the philanthropic, do it for free, that we all ought to do more of. And then if you find yourself, there's also service for compensation, right? Helping people shorten their learning curve and transform their lives in a shorter, help them become the hero in their own story by shortening their learning curve, help them learn something quicker than they can figure it out on their own. Your purpose will always be found, number three, your purpose will always be found in one of two places. Either your personal story, I just shared a little bit about mine, your personal story about overcoming adversity to be an example. I say it all the time, when I put God at the center of my addiction, I decided then to put him at the center of my recovery, and all of that turned out okay. Why wouldn't I put him at the center of the rest of my life? When I talk about the 8 key areas, right? Personal growth, relationships, finances, physical wellness, mental clarity, nutrition, recreation, and number 8 is what I'm talking about today, spiritual connection and life's purpose. Your personal story of overcoming an adversity, and I say it all the time, on the other side of every adversity you will ever face, you'll be introduced to a more powerful version of yourself. So number one, your purpose is constantly evolving. Number two, there are two main purposes. Live a life that honors God and be of service to others. And number three, your service will always be found, number one, in your personal story of overcoming adversity, or you seeing and fulfilling a need for some sort of adversity or problem in the world, gaining the knowledge, i.e. becoming an expert. I have gotten to the other side of addiction, divorce, bankruptcy, cancer. So I can be an example. I can help people overcome adversity by being an example, number one, of someone that has done that. Or there are people who gain the knowledge, right? The doctor who helped me cure my cancer didn't have cancer, but he became an expert at curing it. Years ago, when I began kind of this quest to get on this path of being and becoming the best and most powerful version of myself, I read a book called The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. It's a must read. You ought to read it. It's a really good book. But he puts in the beginning of the book that he dedicates that book to his two brothers, who he calls effective helpers of mankind. Think about that statement. Your purpose is to be an effective helper of mankind. So that's the first three. Number 4, put who before why. Why being your purpose, right? The reason you're doing something. But who means that you need to discover who you are. I'm being a lifelong entrepreneur. I always kind of keep my finger on the pulse of things, marketing ideas and different sort of things. And, this whole concept of today, coaching and online courses and all that kind of stuff. People are always asking, what's the most profitable niche or niche to get into? And, they're putting the money before the purpose, and they're putting the money for who are they willing to become, right? I couldn't help men in recovery from addiction unless I conquered that. You wouldn't want to take financial advice from a guy that was broke all the time. You wouldn't take health and fitness from a guy or a gal that was 100 pounds overweight. Earlier I talked about, going to the description and getting that free guide to the core strengths. That's what I'm talking about. Understanding the power in your personality. Ashley and I created a thing called the Personality Circle that has basically, The definition of personality are the characteristics or traits that make us unique. And the personality circle has 3 parts to it: the strengths, the values, and then the spectrum sequence of our personality colors. And these are all filters that we see and experience the world through. So understanding who you are, I wrote about it in the book, Rescue the Man. There are basically 3 quests that every man has on his masculine journey, and those quests are consistent with a woman on her feminine journey as well. The quest number 1 is to discover your true identity. Quest number 2 is what we're talking about today, to spend yourself in a worthy cause, and understanding the concept of sequence, right? The proper order of things. You'll never find your purpose in life until you discover how powerful God made you to be and to become. Who are you before why are you doing this? And the third quest is always the quest for validation, right? In our look at me world today, we get stuck in people out there validating a false image. YouTube and all of the social platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn and all of these influencers, right? Influencers as in look at me. And when you get right down to it, do you really, other than the amount of money that they make for what they're doing, it's like their purpose has been entertainment, which is great, but your purpose, in some shape, form, or fashion, needs to have God at the center of it, and that's number 5. Put God at the center of all of it. So 5 things about your purpose. It's constantly evolving. There are 2 main purposes for your life: be of service to God and be of maximum service to other human beings. Be an effective helper of mankind. Your purpose will always be found somewhere in your personal story of overcoming adversity, or you gaining the knowledge and being an expert to serve others, make the world a better place. Number 4, always put who before why. Discovering the best and most powerful version of you. When you work on you, that's the whole concept of self-actualization. Understanding your God-given potential. When you work on you and you understand that personality circle, your strengths, your values, the spectrum sequence, your personality colors. And again, you can get that free guide to the character or core strengths at morepowerfulme.com. So that's number 4, who before why, and number 5, to put God at the center of it. So that's the end of this session of More Powerful Me Motivation Monday, the 5 keys to discovering more purpose in your life. And we'll reconnect. And until next time, affirm like we do every single day, I am a more powerful me, and we are a more powerful us because of our most powerful God. Make it a great day wherever you are in the world. You absolutely deserve it. Bye for now.